Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello, my name is Professor Avinash Dadich. I am Dean of Institute of Legal Studies and Research, GLA University, Mathura. So, by training, I am a lawyer. I did my law from Delhi University. Thereafter, I worked in Delhi High Court and Supreme Court as a lawyer. After that, I moved to France for my LLM in International and European Union Law. Thereafter, I moved to UK for my PhD. I came back to India, initially worked with Government of India as a lawyer, as a legal advisor with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Then I moved to corporate and I worked with E&Y and Deloitte, the big 4 consulting firm. And the last 6-7 years, I am in academics full time as a professor. So, I am going to present a very interesting a topic which is becoming very relevant in business world now, that is about the legal and regulatory metrics in India for business houses. So, the first question which may ask that as a business manager, as a business student, why you should know about law, regulatory framework, because normally you believe that job should be done by a legal manager or by a compliance officer, and your job is just to take care of business aspects. That was the situation maybe 20-30 years back, but now when you go and do business, like for example, if you are a marketing manager or a sales manager or maybe finance or general management, you have to take a lot of calls, and those business decisions may attract civil and criminal, legal and regulatory liability for your company. That is why when you go and talk to your legal manager and compliance officer, you need to understand their language. The objective of this lecture and upcoming 20 lectures is not to make you expert in law, but just to give you some idea that how law regulation are affecting your businesses. Okay? So, that is our objective, and today in our first lecture we will talk about introduction of ethics in business in India. I believe that during your BBA and MBA you must have studied the ethical standards, professional standards in business houses. So, before jumping to law and regulatory aspect, the first lecture will be focusing on the ethical aspects of business. So, let us start. Learning outcomes. After this lecture, I believe you will be able to explain why ethics are important for both corporations and individuals in the world of business. Because when you take a decision, ethical or unethical, it creates some impact for business house, for your company as well as individually for you. You will also understand the business case of the importance of ethics in business, both in the terms of driving long term value creation and protecting value, that how ethics can create business value, and then you will be able to describe the key components required to design, implement and support a successful ethics program in any business. And finally, we will also suggest few ethical management approaches for business for various characteristics in terms of size, legal status and so on. And we will also talk about the Indian evolution, that how ethical issues have been dealt in ancient India, medieval India and during the British period and present. Okay. So, I will try to cover many aspects in my lecture. So, first question, what is ethics in business? Sometimes we say that ethics, morals, they are not important in business. The ultimate objective of business is to make money. No doubt, the ultimate objective of any business is to make profit. To make profit for your stakeholders, for your shareholders, for your employees. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the impact of your business on the society, okay, on the economy. So, it is a very interesting proverb, there are no new sins, the old ones just get more publicity. So, historically if you see, since thousands years, in business houses they always had a dilemma, the moral dilemma, ethical dilemma, what to do, what not to do, what is right, what is wrong. So, more or less you will see that unethical behavior is very much consistent in all civilizations, in all types of businesses. So, there is nothing new, like you will see that different types of unethical or immoral behavior in business, maybe in different shape or different way, but more or less you will find that all these illegal, unethical, immoral activities were always present in business. Okay. Then the John Kenneth, he said very rightly in 1929 when the Great Depression happened in USA, as a protection against financial illusion or insanity, memory is far better than law. Memory is far better than law. What is memory? Memory is basically our ethical, moral structure of our society. What is right, what is wrong, you do not need to explain someone, because it is more or less you will find, given a society, given a time, society can always define and decide what is right and wrong, and it keeps changing from one place to another place. Okay. So, memories are very important. When I say memory, means individual memory, society memory, country memory. So, all these memories are very important. So, moral principles basically to protect guidance, to provide guidance for our behavior when it affects other. If you are doing something and it is not affecting someone's life or someone's business, then nobody cares about it. Okay. This is then your very much individual life, and the system or the state or the government would not like to intervene. But once your actions start affecting other people's life, then these moral and ethical principles really helps you. When I say ethics, maybe in few words we can say honesty, fairness, diligence, and care and respect for others. So, these are the basic foundations, and obviously when I say these are basic, means that there is no option. If we want a good society, there has to be some fairness, honesty, diligence, and care for other people. Okay. But then there is a issue. The issue is balancing self-interest and public good. So, in a society, you want to make money. Okay, that is your personal interest. But at the same time, there is a public good. Like for example, when I say environment, you want to make more money and you really do not care about pollution. If your company, if your businesses are creating more pollution, if they are making air pollution, water pollution, by doing that, if you are making money, you are happy. But at the same time, it is affecting public good. So, the law, ethics, regulatory environment, everything is just creating this balance between self-interest and public good. And I do not say that one is greater than another. Sometimes self-interest is very much important, like for example, in intellectual property rights, we have to give protection to inventors for their patent, copyright, trademark, and we restrict. We say that the public at large cannot use these intellectual property rights without their consent. So, you will see that in law, ethics and regulatory framework, they always try to make a balance so that self interest as well as the public good are served equally. If this balance is not made out, then what happens? Then consequences are personal loss and public loss, like Ponzi schemes, inside trading, corporate fraud, all types of things start happening. Okay? So, whenever this balance is disturbed, then not only individual people lose their money and their jobs, their security, their family, but even at the larger level, like for example, when I say insider trading, you know the insider trading in share market it happens. If we allow insider trading, then people will lose faith in the stock exchange, then people will not like to invest more money in the market, and people are not investing money in the market, then the capital flow will be affected and companies will not have enough capital to expand their businesses. So, even a small action of an individual can affect the entire ecosystem. Then the debate is about law versus ethics. Some people say that why we should worry about ethics, we just need to follow laws. We just need the rules, regulations, laws, and we will follow them, because we really do not know what is ethics, because ethics keep changing from one place to another place. But then my argument is that when market is highly regulated by laws, if we make laws for each and every activity in business, then it will be very, very difficult to do business, because we need to give some autonomy, some freedom, to business houses and managers to take appropriate decisions and calls. If we introduce laws for each and every aspects of business, then I really do not think that business can flourish. Okay? And the culture of integrity is far above and beyond strict compliance of law. If we do not have culture of integrity, culture of morality, culture of ethics, then I really do not think that any rules, regulations or any legal structure can help us. These rules and regulations, laws can only work when in a given in a society there is a culture of integrity and ethics. In absence of integrity and ethics, it is almost impossible to convince people that why they should behave in legal manner. So, the debate can be that culture and law. When I say culture, means culture of a society, culture of a country, and then this debate is global, like global versus local. Can we have a global culture? Can we have a global ethics in business houses? I think this is very interesting debate which is taking place in business houses right now, that can we have uniform policies for ethical behavior. Like for example, if I give you two examples, one is global, the another one is local. Corruption. When I say corruption in government or in society, when you go to Africa or Asia, like in India or some other Asian countries, then I think the corruption is more or less well accepted in our society. Maybe it is illegal, but if you talk to any layman or any business house or politician, bureaucrat, more or less, I am not advocating corruption, but I am just trying to say that in Asian and African countries, corruption is more or less accepted. Okay? But if you go to Western world like Europe and US, then it is very difficult for them to accept corruption. At the society level, at the company level, individual level, people really do not accept corruption. So, this is a cultural change, that same ethic, the value can change from one society to another society, and when we introduce rules and regulations, the same rules and regulations in two different cultural societies, we see two different outcomes. Okay? Same thing in India, when I say alcohol selling. In Gujarat it's prohibited, in Bihar it's prohibited, but in Punjab or Tamil Nadu or Karnataka it's very much available. So, how to do your business when you see within a country you see two different states where one they do not allow at all, and another they really promote it. Okay. So, even the ethical value can change within the country. I am not talking about outside of country, but within the country cultural values can change. Okay. So, I am just throwing these examples to you so that you can appreciate the impact of culture on rules, regulations and ethical values. Then the second question, ethics versus morality, that are the same, ethic and moral values are the same. So, let us see what they are. Business ethics is also known as corporate ethics. Okay. It is form of applied ethics or professional ethics that examine ethical principles and moral or ethical problems that arise in the business environment. Other side, morality is a concern with the norms, values and belief embedded in a social process which define right and wrong for an individual or a community. So, ethics is basically given by in the corporate sector, but morality is more or less is a part of culture. Okay. So, like I believe you will understand through the example better, the environment protection versus CSR fund. So, CSR fund now it is as the law, but before the law in some companies because of their business ethics they introduced CSR funds. It was not mandated by law, it was not concerned with their moral principles, but the company as a corporate they took it as an ethical value and they started CSR fund. But if I say moral principles and environmental protection, maybe for a company environmental protection can be an issue of law, but and if they have a trade off type of situation, like for example if they can make 100 crore rupees by polluting a river, and if they integrate that if anything happens, any regulatory or any legal action happens against us, we will lose maybe 10 crore, 20 crore. So, then I think this question will be an ethical dilemma for them. Okay. But when I go to environmental protection for an individual like country like in India, people do not like to pollute rivers, people do not like to cut some types of trees like the people. So, ethics and moral principles they are very different, and the morality principles are more concerned with individuals rather than the corporates. How to foster culture of ethics? Okay. So, part and parcel of organization ethics is fostering a culture of ethics through. So, these are the things through which we can promote ethical and moral principles. Motivating employees individually to act ethically. See, when I say a company, company means individuals. Okay. So, if we promote, we motivate individuals to act ethically, then there will be a collective consciousness in the organization or in a corporate, and then people will like to hesitate to do anything which is not ethical. Promoting integrity and code of ethics through modeling, mentoring and other activities. So, it is not only that you promote, you need to create some codes of ethics, you need to do modeling, you need to do mentoring, you need to do proper compliance. So, you have to act. It is not like just lip sympathy that okay please behave in ethical manner, people do not do it. That is the 80-20 rule, I believe you know that rule. The rule says that 80% people in any given society or in a company, they act as per the rules, regulations and the intention or action of the bosses or the employer. Okay. So, if the boss or the company wants them to be ethical, they become ethical. If the company says we do not worry about ethical values, then they become unethical. So, 80% people always move with the direction of the company intentions. 20% people, they really do not care, either they are very good or very bad. They really do not change. If they are good, they remain good. If they are bad, they remain bad. Okay. So, 80% people given in a company can be mobilized, okay, through these modeling, mentoring and activities, and ensuring the performance management and reward system do not contradict or undermine core values of a business. This is very important. If you say that you win business by doing any unethical business, we really do not care and we give you reward. So, in that scenario, people will not have any incentive to go for ethical behavior. So, your reward policy, your promotion policy and your all incentives must integrate this ethical concept, the ethical character. Okay. Otherwise, it again I say it will be a lip sympathy, people will not follow it. So, your action must support the ethical behavior of your employees. Then you have to demonstrate, when suppose you are a manager, maybe after your MBA or BBA you become a manager and there will be some people under your team. So, you have to demonstrate your employees that business is willing to walk the talk. So, you have to act ethical. If you are not behaving in ethical manner, then I really do not think that other guys, your juniors will do the same, and you should also expect ethical behavior from your seniors. Okay. So, now the important ethical questions. So, when considering a questionable course of action, one has to ask these three important questions. So, suppose you are facing a situation and you believe that this is a situation which is asking myself whether it is ethical or not. Okay. So, most of the time in business situations, when you are doing marketing, sales, finance, HR or any type of activity, then you will come across to these type of situations where you have to ask these three questions. The first question, is it against the law? Does it violate company or professional policies? So, the first question you should ask, is it against the law? If it is against the law, I should not do it. If it is against the company's policies and professional standards, I should not do it. What if everyone did this? How would I feel if someone did this to me? So, it is more like an empathy type of situation. You have to put yourself in someone's shoes and say, okay, if I do this, the other guy will suffer. So, should I do it? Like for example, you are a marketing guy and you start giving false promises, or the promises which you know that it is not going to happen. So, you might be able to sell your product. I know it is more like in a professor's type of discussion, because at the end of the day you have to get your business. But then as I said, it is a long term aspect you have to see, because if you follow unethical behavior with your client, you may win that business once, but you lose that client. Okay. You lose all possible references coming from that client. Okay. So, once you start thinking that how other guy will feel if I do something illegal, unethical, immoral activity, then I do not think that you will do it, because then you will start feeling the pain of that person, and if you are smart enough, you will start realizing that I am going to lose my business. Okay. And the third question you should ask, am I sacrificing long term benefits for short term gains? Okay. So, this is the third question, and you should ask again and again yourself. You have to sit down, make the long term analysis, short term analysis. For a short term gain, are you ready to sacrifice your long term gains? This is very important. And you will see that many top class leaders, like they have lost their job. I do not want to name anyone, but If you see, if you Google it, you will find many top class leaders, very senior people, they lost their job, they lost their reputation, they lost their career just because of they choose short term gains over the long term gains. So, students, it might look again very theoretical, but if you take one step back and start thinking that should I do it or should I not do it, and if you choose to go for long term benefits, maybe in short term you will lose some money, you will lose maybe minor promotion, but in long term you will build some more confidence, you will build more reputation in the market, in your sector, and believe me, people will give you more respect within the company and outside of the company. So, you need to be very careful when you are asking these three questions. So, when you apply ethics in business, you can follow these ethical principles. So, first is solidarity, efficiency, rationality, fairness, refraining from willingness harming others, and role responsibility. See, when I say ethics, it is more about leadership, it is taking a call, you know. Sometimes you believe, you think, oh, I am a very junior guy, other guys are doing it, why should I just go for this ethical things, and no. Because once you adopt unethical behavior in your thought process and you ignore all these things like solidarity, efficiency, rationality, fairness, empathy, role responsibility, then even you are a assistant manager or you are a CEO in a company, you are going to face same type of situation again and again. So, it is not about the junior, mid-term, mid-level or a senior management. All the people should integrate ethical values in their decision making process, even you are the junior most person in your organization, okay, because ultimately you are working for your own, you are creating your own brand value and you are creating your own reputation in the market, okay. So, you should apply these principles when you are going for ethics. And suppose you believe that other guys are doing it, I am losing my money, I am losing my clients, and other people by applying unethical behavior, they are getting more business. So, what to do? So, in most of the companies in MNCs now, even the Indian firms are also adopting this policy, disclosure on managing business ethics. So, reporting system, monitoring audit incidents, management learning loop. Okay. So, if you believe that there is something wrong, you should be a whistleblower and you should issue the red flags to your organization, to your compliance officer, to your legal team, to your immediate boss that something is happening wrong. Okay. Then governance and tone from the top. You, if you are working at the senior level in a maybe you are going to start a startup, so then very quickly you become the CEO or CFO or the head of the company. So, you need to understand that the governance, it is tone from the top. If you behave in ethical manner, then your junior guys will also behave in ethical manner. If you decide to work on any unethical side, do not expect that your juniors will behave in ethical manner. Okay. Then you need to create lot of policies, it is not only action, you need to create lot of policies, rules, regulations, codes, and then you need to give them lot of training also. So, your junior guys, they want to behave in ethical manner, but maybe they do not have proper policies, rules, regulation, training. So, sometime and unknowingly, unintentionally they do something unethical. Then risk assessment and third party risk. You even after getting all the training and all these things, sometime it happens that some, as I said, 20% people they like to do something wrong, okay, unethical. So, in that scenario you need to do lot of risk assessment by the third parties, okay. And the third party risk, suppose maybe your company your guys are not doing anything wrong, but maybe the third parties, your consultants, your vendors, they are doing something unethical, illegal. So you need, because they are connected with you and they are part of your business, so you need to be very careful when you are engaging with third parties. So you should go for proper risk assessment. And then finally training and communication. This is the important thing. Please communicate very clearly with your team, with your juniors, with your seniors, and communication is become more stronger when it's supported by training. If you just communicate without training, then it does not happen. So you need to give them lot of training, support, and finally they should communicate. So now let us come back to the Indian concept of this ethical. One disclosure, I will be talking only about Vedanta principles, but it's not like that I just want to focus on the Hindu philosophy, because I strongly believe that in all religions like the Holy Quran or Holy Bible and all religious texts by other religions, they also have the same type of philosophy. They promote ethics in business. Okay. So here I am going to talk only about Vedantic principles or our ancient knowledge, but I am very much clear and very confident that other religions also have the same type of principles. Okay. So please, do not take it as a religious angle, but you also need to understand that the when I say Vedantic principle, it is not religion, it is not Hinduism. Vedantic principles are more like ancient than any religion. Any Hinduism, I think I can say almost like 5,000 years back, and all forms of religion started maybe 2,500 years back. Okay. So you can clearly see that those 2,500 year time, there was no religion in India. Okay. India was a absolutely non-religious country, but more like a Vedantic principles. Okay. It was more like a principle based society than a religion based society. And when the religion, other religions like the Christianity, Islam and so many other religions, they took a shape, then maybe Hinduism also took a shape, maybe in late after 4th century, 5th century AD. So please take it as a principle rather than a religion. Okay, because Vedanta is not a religion. Okay, I am not talking about Hinduism. So in Vedantic principles, there is a strong interrelationship between religion, religious thoughts and economic activity in India. In Vedantic principle, they connect dharma with life. And when I say dharma is not the synonyms of religion in Vedantic principle. Dharma means doing right thing, okay, following the right path, that is the dharma. It has nothing to do with the modern context of religion. Okay. So they always connect the dharma with your business. The rich culture of India, very spiritual, very religious, is focused on intuitive ethical decision making and rule of man, not rule of law, rule of man, which sets it apart from the Western analytical approach to ethical decision making based on norms and rule of law. So this is very interesting difference here, that ancient Vedantic principle, they emphasize on individual. They say ki as an individual you need to make a call, you need to take a decision, and until and unless you are not spiritually empowered and you do not understand what is dharma, what is adharma, what is right, what is wrong, a law will not help you. Okay. Law will always react. If you do something wrong, law will come and put some penalty on you, maybe financial penalty, or they put you behind the bars. But while at the time of taking a decision, law will not help you. Okay. So it is more like based on the doctrine of karma. Okay. I believe that in India everybody knows it. So in doctrine of karma, what they say, that actions can be broadly classified as appropriate or inappropriate, good or bad. Okay. So you know exactly what is right, what is wrong, what is ethical, what is unethical, what is moral, what is immoral. You don't need to take approval from someone, okay, and it's your call, okay. If you believe that there is something right, this is right for you, okay. The notion of rebirth, where actions in particular lifetime may bear fruit either during the current life or during future ones. So you always believe that this life is not the end, okay. This is the continuity with so many past lives and future lives. So if you do something good in this life, you are creating good karmas, and those karmas will help you to reduce all the sins which you have done in the past lives, and it will save you from suffering in the current life, okay. So if you do good, then it will minus your past sins. At the same time, it will also add more positive things in your future lives, okay. So the Indian Vedantic principle is very much, I think it's like a bank account, that maybe you have some deficit budget. So if you make more money, first you cover your deficit, and then you make more money and you put in your account so that you can use in future. So it's very scientific, very mathematical, scientific, and easy to understand. Good actions in the present and lead to good outcomes in the future, and inappropriate correct action lead to bad outcomes in the future. So it's directly connected with your future. We are all trying to create a good future for us, okay. And sometimes even it connects with your kids, with your family, that if you do something wrong, wrong will come to your daughters or your son or your family. So your behavior is very much restricted then, because now you are not thinking only about rules, regulations, but you are thinking about yourself and about your family, and it is more like a psychological, emotional regulation rather than the legal regulation. So in Vedantic philosophy, business and ethics, karma as a part of Vedantic ethical philosophy states that an individual who choose the appropriate, like the ethical path, attains happiness in a long term, and one who choose pleasure or easy options like the bad path or unethical path lose sight of the long term objective happiness, okay. So this is very clear short term and long term analysis you make, okay, and it's not about the rules, regulations, it's about your life, about your family life. And they have decided that like there are 4 objectives of life. So when you do a business, then you cannot say, okay, the profit is the only objective, okay. And now that approach is also changing even in business world. Earlier it was shareholding approach. Shareholding approach means that you are making money for your shareholders. They have put money in your company. So our job, our responsibility is to give them more and more profit so that they can make money, okay. So that's why you are doing all these unethical behavior, because you are a manager and some people have put their investment. So your job is to give them more money, to take care of the interest of shareholders. But now the approach is stakeholders. Stakeholders, it's not only the shareholders, they are important, all stakeholders like the employees, vendors, society, environment, human rights, all these things are also important for you as a manager, as a leader, okay. So in Indian philosophy, in Indian Vedantic philosophy, they have defined 4 goals in life. So first is dharma, that's a justice, duty and virtue. Then artha, I think that's a shareholding approach, artha, success and prosperity. Then kama, that you enjoy your money, and moksha, okay. Moksha we can say in terms of like you are releasing it, So maybe the CSR, the corporate social responsibility, can be the one part of moksha, that you are releasing your money for the society without any interest. So you make money by using dharma, you follow the rules, regulations, ethical values, and you create artha, okay. So you make money, you make profit, and then kama, you enjoy your money, you enjoy your profit, And finally, once you finish your enjoying and taking advantage of your wealth and your money, then you release it for the society. So, it is a very scientific approach. It's not restricting your desire to make money. Okay. And the Vedantic philosophy never says that you don't need to make money, you need to make money. Okay. They say it very clearly that even Swami Vivekananda said very clearly that poverty is a sin, you have to make money. As I said, ki artha, you have to make money, but based on the justice or the dharma, then you enjoy this also, you enjoy your money. There is nothing wrong that you enjoy your money. If you buy a good car, good house, good mobile, you go for good travel. In Vedantic philosophy, they allow it, even they promote it. But finally, they say then go for moksha. Moksha means now you redistribute your wealth and your money for other people. Okay. So, now we will talk about the evolution of Indian business ethics. The evolution of business ethics in India can be divided into following 5 phases. Okay. The first, like, okay, I am not going to go back in like an ancient period, because see, the ancient period is not relevant anymore. What happened 2000, 3000, 4000 years back may be not relevant right now. So, I will start with very recently from 17th century AD. So, like you can say 321 years back, and in these 320 years, so many things changed in India. So, you can say that by this time Indian GDP was consisting almost 26% of global GDP. We were one of the richest country in the world. Okay. Right now we have only maybe maximum 2% of global GDP. So, you can say from 26% to 2%, and 2%, when I say, it is like we are growing very much in last 20-30 years. So, from 26% to 2%, I think that is a big story. So, I want to start only from that point when we had 26% GDP and India was like the most one of the richest country. That China got 25% world GDP share, India got 26. So, China and India used to have almost 51% of GDP, and all the European and Middle East, African, and all the entire globe got only 49. Okay. So, what was the ethical value or ethical system in during that period when we got so much money? That was the Panchayati Raj. So, Panchayati Raj, the primary legal and ethical cultural ruling in India was the Panchayat, a group of elders who were chosen and accepted by the local community to rule and regulate the business community. It was very interesting. So, it was not like the rules, regulations coming from the king or the state. They decided to trust their elders, the wise people in the community. So, they choose them, they say, okay, now these 5 people will be deciding our business disputes. Okay. And those guys were using their impartial decisions and making a balance that business should not suffer, at the same time society should not suffer, and instead of lengthy legal and regulatory litigation, can we solve these concepts in a very nice manner. And people had a lot of faith in this system. It was not like that, okay, I do not like you, now I am going to king. No, almost 99.99% people had full trust and faith in this system. Okay. So, it worked very well, less litigation, less conflicts, and because of this harmonious way in the society, the India grew very fast. And it is very interesting. suppose if I do something unethical, illegal behavior, and if I need to face a judge, the judge doesn't know me, I don't know judge. When I go to a courtroom, nobody knows me. Okay, so I don't have any emotional and psychological burden on me. Even if I have done something wrong, I can always argue that okay, I have done nothing wrong, because I really don't care about my surroundings. But what if I am in front of my elders in my community and everybody knows that I have done something wrong? It's very difficult for me to plead not guilty, because ultimately I want to live in that society, that community. Even if I win the case, even if I get the favorable judgment from the panchayat by saying lies and unethical things, I will lose respect in the community. Okay, so it was more like a community focused justice system, community focused ethical and moral checklist. Okay. What happened then? After the phase 1, the British Raj came. So you can say 1858, because 1857 we had the revolution, the first revolution, freedom fight. So this British period, control over India opened a window of opportunity for furthering Indian national trade and international trade and integration into the global economy. Okay. The traditional business system and ethical practices that incorporate a social enforcement mechanism were replaced with a new system, and the new system was court and police stations. Okay, advocates, rules, regulations, laws. So now these organizations, these bodies were deciding disputes, and in that dispute mechanism, ethics and morals were absent. Please try to understand. When you go before a panchayat or the elder peoples, they will talk about everything. They will talk about ethics, they will talk about moral principles, they will talk about rules, regulations, because ultimately they want to do justice. But in the British period, the ethical and moral principles were replaced by rules and regulations of law. And you cannot say that the laws are always promoting ethics and moral principles. Okay. Laws are very much neutral. Okay. So in this period, so many things changed. Okay. And the impact of this period you can see easily, which happened in India, like you can see clearly after 1947 till 1990. That period or that phase is called license Raj or permit Raj or Inspector Raj. The license Raj trained a large army of educated professionals through its wide array of public sector firms, government, R&D labs, technical colleges, producing many good administrators, okay, but failing to harness individual knowledge and entrepreneurship to truly develop India. So what happened after freedom? After 1947, we developed an ecosystem where so many things were happening, but controlled by the government. So the individual growth were very much controlled. And second, that is very interesting. During this period, when I say license Raj or permit Raj, maybe some of you maybe haven't heard about it, but you go and talk to your parents or maybe your grandfather and ask them that what was the situation in India before 1990 if you wanted to buy like a car or a scooter or maybe a telephone, okay, you had to wait for 3 to 5 years, okay. And if you are doing a business, to expand your business you need to go and take a license. If you want to export more, you need to go and take a license. If you want to do anything in your business, you need to go and take license and approval from the government. So that was the reflection of the British period in India, that everything should be decided by state and by rules and regulations, and the community and individuals should not have any role in the decision making process. So this very much legalistic approach the British approach that we cannot trust Indians. So, we need to make rules, regulations, and whenever they want to do something, like if suppose if I want to buy some more machinery for my factory, no, you can't do it. First you need to come, explain me, take my approval, pay the fee, then only you can do it. So, the same approach continued even after 1947, and because of that only few companies, only few family houses like the Tata, Birlas, Dalmias and maybe 8 or 10 more houses, they control almost 90% of our Indian economy. Okay. So, that was the time even the corruption also got accepted in society. The Indian business infrastructure relies on the government, you can easily see. The last fourth one is invisible Raj. So, invisible Raj, it happened, the influence of ethics based on Hinduism and Vedantic philosophies were further weakened under pressure of powerful global markets. So, when we opened our economy after 1990 and we say we want to stop the license Raj, then we promoted the global companies, and once we opened our door, then we saw a huge change in Indian mindset. After the introduction of the global business policies into Indian traditional business and legal systems, more unethical practices entered the system as part of the free trade and modernization or the globalization. So, earlier it was like the closed corruption, but then after 1990 it became very big corruption, open corruption. So, you see after 1990 lot of schemes happened in like the Harshad Mehta scheme happened in financial market. So many corruption activities happened in India after 1990 and still they are going on. Okay. So, if you see the historical corruption history in India before 1990, corruption was there, but in a very limited manner. But after 1990, when we started this globalization, then invisible Raj started. All these big companies from the back, they started controlling the Indian economy. Okay. This transformation had a major impact on how business is conducted in India and what is considered as ethically accepted in business. So, when we saw these big companies coming to India, then so many things changed. And finally, the Jugaad Raj, which is still going on 2010 to present date, as a result of the desire of Artha, the opening of an international market and delicious Chinese global economy success, we started doing Jugaads. And the practice of jury rigging, bribery and doing all needed repairs oneself. Jugaad has evolved as a slang for a quick fix. It has also developed into the concept of borderline criminal activity in the informal Indian economy. So, from 2010 you can see corruption is there, but it is more like a Jugaad type of economy. We are all trying to fix things, instead of creating something absolutely new, we are all like fixing things. Okay. So, this type of environment creates a good ecosystem for unethical behavior. Conclusions: as India integrated into the global economy, result of foreign influence, it is important for Indian firms to understand that they can no longer afford to ignore the issue of business ethics. So, they need to understand that unethical behavior will not take them to a longer path. Globalization has also highlighted the strategic importance of ethical behavior in conducting business worldwide. If you want to go global, we have to be ethical. Western managers rely on normative ethics, where Indian managers rely more on assessing rational attributes to specific areas. Okay. So, loyalty to their organization is more important than ethical principle. You need to understand, you are working for a company, you are not a slave. If you believe that your company is doing something wrong, please resist, please raise your voice. Okay. Managers from collectivistic societies are more likely to follow this type of unethical approach. And then finally, ethics and these things we can integrate in our system. Act with integrity, competence, diligence, respect and in an ethical manner with the public, clients, prospective clients, employers, employees, colleagues in the investment profession and in your business. Okay. So, this is very important that you need to, because you are investing your money, okay, you are investing your time. So, please behave very professionally, very ethically with all stakeholders. Place the integrity of the profession and the interest of the stakeholders above your own personal interest. It is stakeholders, they are more important than your personal interest or even your employer's interest. Use reasonable care and exercise independent professional judgment when conducting business analysis, recommendations, actions and engaging in any other professional activity in business. So, when you face any situation, please sit down, think and take your independent call, okay, because ultimately you will be known by your decisions, you will face good or bad outcome because of your activities. So, while I finishing this presentation, I just want to say few things. My dear students, currently we are facing jugaad type of economy, where people will say that everything is acceptable, but that is not true. Jugaad can take you to one level, but if you want to go to the next level, next level, next level, only ethics and professional standards will help you. It might look very theoretical, but if you see the development of all these new startups and the collapse of all business houses, you will see very clearly that people who are investing more time and energy on innovation, new ideas, they are following ethical environment. And the big corporations, the old guys, the old generation which relied on this jugaad type of economy or this Inspector Raj type of economy, they are collapsing. And finally, when we will move to the legal and regulatory aspect, please do not forget that your unethical behavior will lead you to illegal behavior. It is very difficult to determine and decide when your unethical behavior will convert into illegal behavior, and once it is converted into illegal behavior, then you are inviting civil and criminal liability on you, okay, and that will be the end of your career, that will be the end of your business. So, please remember, ethics is not a luxury, ethics is not a choice, it must be the part of your business, it must be the part of your professional life, irrespective of your short term loss. But if you are looking for long term career, long term growth, ethics is the foundation. Thank you very much. I will see you in next lecture.